I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, and we're starting off the series with a fairly simple one. All we're asked to do is find the area of this triangle and give it to three significant figures. And to do that, you just need to use the formula in the formula booklet, which is the area of a triangle equals 1 over 2 times A times B times sine theta. And you just plug numbers in. 1 over 2 times 11.2 times 4.3 times sine 118. And you get 21.26, which to three significant figures is 21.3. Although for some reason, I don't know why, the mark scheme doesn't actually care about the three-figure stuff, despite it asking for it. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Once again, not a particularly good question to start off the series with, but it is a fairly easy one. So the answer on our calculator begins with 10.2. That means everything after it, we don't know, and it's truncated. That's the key importance here. If it was rounded, then the error interval would be different, but for truncation, it is simply greater than or equal to what it is being truncated to, which in this case is 10.2, but it also has to be less than 10.3, as if it's greater than 10.3, it won't be truncated to 10.2. So t has to be greater than 10.2 and less than 10.3. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Finally on day 3 we get a good question. Okay, so the goal here is to show that the area of b squared plus the area of c squared equals the area of a squared. And it's similar to Pythag, so let's just start off with labeling the sides in terms of their radius. So we let the diameter of A be 2x, the diameter of B be 2y, and the diameter of C be 2z, where x, y, and z are the radiuses of A, B, and C respectively. And then we can simply do Pythag to get 4x squared equals 4y squared plus 4z squared. And then we need to equate this to the main goal of the question, which is the semicircles. And we can get the formula of the semicircles from this by simply dividing everything by 8 and multiplying everything by pi. And as x, y, and z are the radiuses, which is why we had it as 2x, 2y, and 2z, we can now see that the area of circle A is equal to the area of circle B plus the area of circle C, which is what we were trying to show. So we're done. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, so we're tasked with working out if Katrina has enough fertilizers for the 4 tanks. So let's start off by working out the volume of one tank. Now, the volume of a cylinder is pi times r squared times h, which in this case is pi times 40 squared times 160, which gets you 256,000 pi centimeters cubed, which if you take into account there being 4 tanks in total is 1,024,000 pi centimeters cubed. And you just divide by 1,000 and multiply the pi out to get it in terms of litres, which is 3,216.9 litres. So let's just take that to the side and carry on doing the rest of the maths. Okay, now that we know the volume of the 4 tanks, we need to find out whether the mixture is enough to fill all 4 of them. Now we're told the mixture is given in a ratio of 1 to 100, where 1 is the fertilizer and 100 is the rest of the mixture. And she has 32 litres of fertilizer. So to work out the total amount of mixture, it's 32 times 101, which is 3,232 litres. Now, 3,232 litres is greater than 3,217 litres, so yes, Katrina does have enough fertilizer to fill all 4 tanks. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, since ABC is a right-angled triangle, to work out the length of AB, what we need is one length of the triangle and an angle in the triangle. Now, we already have the angle in the triangle, so we somehow need to use triangle ACD to actually work out a length. Now, the length they share is AC, and you may have already noticed this, but because ACD is a isosceles triangle, because it's 90, 45, the other angle has to be 45, both the lengths D and C and A and C are the same, so A and C has length 8 centimeters. Okay, now that we have an angle and side in triangle ABC, we can just use SOHCAHTOA to work out the length of AB. So sine theta equals the opposite over hypotenuse. Plugging the numbers in, sine 20 equals 8 over AB. The length of AB equals 8 over sine 20, which is 23.4 centimeters. Once again, this is another question, the second one in this series, we're only 5 days in, where it tells you to give it to 3 significant figures, but the mark scheme doesn't actually care. Give it to the correct amount of significant figures anyway in your exam, but just thought I should point that out. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, so for this question, we're trying to work out the amount of green pens. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take the ratio of all the packs sold and convert it to the ratio of all the pens sold. And you can simply do this by multiplying each part of the ratio by the amount of pens in the pack. And that gets you a ratio of 14 to 15 to 24. And to do this, we simply multiply the 7 by the 2 in each pack, multiply the 3 by the 5 in each pack, and multiply the 4 by the 6 in each pack. And then doing this, we can take the 24 green and do 24 divided by the sum of 14, 15, and 24, and then times it by 212 to actually get the amount of green pens, which is 96 pence. And you'll know you've messed up here if you don't have the whole number of pens, because you can't, you can sell half a pen. It's just if you're selling half a pen, you're a scammer. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... This is the first question in the paper, so it is rather easy, but it is important to note a couple of things. For part A, we're asked what this inequality is, and the circle isn't filled in, which means it's a strict inequality, and the answer is x is greater than -1. Then for part B, we're simply asked to draw an inequality, and that inequality is y is greater than or equal to -3 and less than 4. So what we simply need to do is, because greater than or equal to -3 isn't a strict inequality, we draw the circle in completely at -3, and less than -4 is a strict equality, so we just do a circle, don't fill it in, and a line between them, like this. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... y being directly proportional to the cube root of x means that y equals k times the cube root of x. So we simply plug in y equals 1 1/6, or y equals 7 over 6, and x equals 8 into the formula, then rearrange to get k. That gives us a value of k being 7 over 12, and then to simply find out the value of y when x equals 64, we simply times k by the cube root of 64. So 7 over 12 times 4 equals 7 over 3. So the value of y when x equals 64 is 7 over 3. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, so our goal is to find the area of a triangle that has a perimeter of 72 centimeters and its lengths in ratios to 3 to 4 to 5. So the first thing we need to do is work out what one ratio unit is. So we divide 72 by 3 plus 4 plus 5. So we divide 72 by 12, which gives us a value of 6. So one ratio unit is 6. And then we need to work out what the base and the height are. And to do that, because the base, we know that 3 and 4 are the base and 5 is the hypotenuse because the hypotenuse is the longest. We multiply 6 by 3 and 6 by 4 to get the base and height being 18 and 24. And then we simply do 1 over 2 times 18 times 24 to get the answer, which is... I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, we did the first question in the paper a few days ago, so it's only fair we now do the last question in the paper. So let's start off with the first inequality. X squared minus 49 is greater than 0. This factorizes into x minus 7, x plus 7 is greater than 0. Now, when is a product of these two numbers greater than 0? It's when both are positive or both are negative. So we end up solving x minus 7 greater than 0 and x plus 7 greater than 0, in which case x has to be greater than 7, or x minus 7 is less than 0 and x plus 7 is less than 0, in which case x has to be less than minus 7. So the solution to the first inequality is x is less than minus 7 or x is greater than 7. You could also do this in a graphical method, however this is the way I prefer. Then moving on to the second inequality, 5x squared minus 31x minus 72 is greater than 0. You can do this in multiple ways. You could either factorise it, however this is a paper 2, so you could use the quadratic equation. Let's go with the factorisation, since we can use the same method we did last time. Factorising it, we get 5x plus 9 and x minus 8 is greater than 0. In which cases are both of these positive or both of these negative? Both are positive if x is greater than 8, and both are negative if x is less than minus 9 over 5. So the solution to this second inequality is x is less than minus 9 over 5, or x is greater than 8. Okay, and for something to satisfy both inequalities, we simply need to take the intersection of the two sets. Now, for x being less than it, the first inequality says x is less than minus 7, and the second inequality says x is less than minus 9 over 5. Now, to take the intersection, we need to take the stricter one, which is x is less than minus 7. So the left-hand side of it is x is less than minus 7, and for the right-hand side, the two inequalities are x is greater than 7 and x is greater than 8, with the stricter one being x is greater than 8. We take the stricter one, x is greater than 8, so the final combined solution is x is less than minus 7 or x is greater than 8. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, so for part A we have to work out how long it would have taken 15 people to clean all the cars. So firstly, let's work out how long it takes one person to do the car. To do that, we simply multiply 5 by 12, because if you think about it logically, if it takes 12 people 5 hours, like it's inversely proportional, it would take one person 5 times 12 hours. So if it takes one person 60 hours to do it, then to simply work out how long it would take 15 people to do it, we simply divide 60 by 15 and we get the answer of 4. Then for part B, we're told this assumption is wrong and asked how this may affect the time taken for the 15 people to clean the cars. The honest truth is, we're not told how this assumption is wrong, so we don't know how it's going to affect the time taken. So it could be more or it could be less. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, the first thing we need to do is rewrite the equation in the form y equals mx plus c. And to do this, we simply divide everything by 3, getting y equals 4 over 3x plus 7 over 3. Now, to get the gradient of the line that is perpendicular to this, we need to take the negative reciprocal of the gradient of the first line. So the negative reciprocal of 4 over 3 is negative 3 over 4. Now we can simply plug in 3 and negative 5 into the formula y equals negative 3 over 4x plus c. Simplify and rearrange for c, and you get a value of c being negative 11 over 4. And then we simply just plug that into the formula. Y equals negative 3 over 4x minus 11 over 4. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, our goal is to find a formula for x in terms of z. So let's first sort of write it out algebraically. If x is proportional to y squared, then x equals k y squared. And if y is proportional to z cubed, we write y equals n z cubed. Now we substitute the expression for y into the expression for x, and this gives us y equals k times nz cubed squared. Then we square the z cubed and we get z to the power of 6, so the whole expression becomes x equals k times n squared times z to the power of 6. And we can just multiply the two constants together, which gives us a third constant, which we'll call m. So x equals m z to the power of 6. Now we use the values from the equation, which is when z equals 2, x equals 32. Substitute them in, we get 32 equals m times 2 to the power of 6. 2 to the power of 6 is 64, so 32 equals 64m, which means m equals a half. So the final formula is
x equals a half z to the power of 6.
I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have...
Okay, so our goal here is to work out the size of angle BAC, which is the angle at A. However, we can't work that out directly using any rule. So firstly, we have to use sine rule to work out angle ACB, or the angle at C. We know that AB equals 15 centimeters, AC equals 18 centimeters, and angle ABC equals 70 degrees. We use sine rule with the fact that we know a side and its opposite angle. So we know that AC over sine B equals AB over sine C. Let the angle at C be C. So 18 over sine 70 equals 15 over sine C. Sine C equals 15 times sine 70 over 18, which is approximately 0.783. So C is approximately 51.6. Now, we have two angles in a triangle, and we know that all the two angles in a triangle must add up to 180 degrees. So we can simply do 180 minus 70 minus 51.6 to get 58.4, which is angle BAC, and our final answer.
I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, so we have a nice and easy question today. We're given a Venn diagram with the universal set, which is all even numbers less than 19, and in set A is 6, 12 and 18, and in set B is 2, 6, 14 and 18. So we need to start off with the things that are in the centre of A and B, which is 6 and 18. Then we do the stuff which is just in A, put that in A, 12, and then we do the stuff which is just in B, which is 2 and 14. And then on the outside, the stuff which is just in the universal set, it's all even numbers that are less than 19, which aren't in A or B. It is 4, 10, 8 and 16. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Y being directly proportional to X simply just means that Y equals KX, and Y being inversely proportional to X means that Y equals K over X. So we simply draw those two graphs, which is this, and we're done. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Okay, since they're all powers of 98, they're all multiples of the one that is larger than them. So the lowest common multiple is just the largest one, which is 98 to the power of 91. Second to last question on a higher paper, by the way. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have... Hello everyone who is both lonely and locked in enough to join me to do a Valentine's themed question. So, a Valentine's bear costs £6.50. Charlie buys some teddy bears with a £50 note and receives £4.50 change. And we need to work out how many teddy bears Charlie brought. So the total cost of the teddy bears is 50 quid minus the £4.50 change, which means Charlie in total spent £45.50 on teddy bears. Now to simply work out how many teddy bears he brought, we need to divide 45.5 by 6.5, which gets us our final answer of 7. Why Charlie has 7 girls he needs to buy teddy bears for, I don't know. We're not one to judge. So, that's the end of this video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, and enjoy Valentine's Day. Send in Instagram reels to your crush, or whatever kids do now. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have...
Okay, so firstly, we have to solve 81 to the power of minus a half. And you can either deal with the half first or the minus first. I'm choosing to deal with the minus first. So a minus power means you just take the reciprocal. So first step, turn it into 1 over 81 to the power of a half. And then doing something to the power of half is the same as square rooting it. The square root of 1 over 81 is 1 over 9. And then in the next part, 64 over 125 to the power of 2 over 3. Let's deal with the over 3 part first. We simply cube root both the top and the bottom to get 4 over 5 to the power of 2. and then we simply square it to get 16 over 25.
I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have...
Since the ratios are the same, we know that the left side divided by the right side of one ratio equals the left side divided by the right side of the other ratio. So x squared divided by 3x minus 5 equals a half. Then we can simply do a bit of rearranging to get 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 equals 0. And even though this is a non-calculator paper, we can still use the quadratic formula because it simplifies nicely, and using the quadratic formula on the quadratic equation, you get the answers x equals minus 1 and x equals 2.5.
I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have...
You put it into your calculator and you get 0.739.
Hello everybody, and after a short break for illness, we're back to day 22 of completing a GCSE maths question every day. And today we have the June 2017 paper 2, question 10. And the first question is to write down the name of the planet with the greatest mass from the table we are given. Now, if you just look through all the masses, the one with the highest power over the 10 is Jupiter, with it having a mass of 1.898 times 10 to the power 27. For question B, we need to find the difference of Venus and Mercury, the difference between the mass of them. And to do that, we simply need to just do one minus the other. And because this is a calculator paper, we can just put it into our calculator. And it is 4.869 times 10 to the 24 minus 3.302 times 10 to the 23, and just putting that into our calculator, we get 4.5388 times 10 to the 24. And then for part C, Nishat says that Neptune is over 100 times further away from Earth than Venus is. So what we need to do there is we need to simply divide the distance Neptune is away from Earth, which is 4.35 times 10 to the 9, and by the distance Venus is away from Earth, which is 4.14 times 10 to the 7, and we simply put that into our calculator to get 105.07, which shows that it's 105.07 times further away than Venus. So Nishat is correct. Anyway, that's the end of that video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hello everybody, it's your friend Daniel here, and welcome to day 23 of doing a random GCSE maths question every day. And today we are doing June 2017, paper 3, question 10. Nairobi invests 6,000 quid for 5 years. The investment gets compound interest of X% per annum. At the end of the 5 years, the investment is worth £8,029.35. And we're meant to work out what percentage she has. So firstly, let's just do the formula for compound interest. 6,000 times, you could go for the more in-depth formula, but I just prefer to use the multiplier, times, let's label the multiplier as y, to the power of 5 equals 8,029.35. And then we simply need to rearrange. Y to the power of 5 equals 8,029.35 over 6,000, which is just 1.338225. And then, since y to the power of 5 equals 1.338225, we simply need to do y equals 1.338225, and you can either write it as just like, I don't know what a fifth dimensional shape is called, you can either write it like that, or you could just write it to the power of 1 over 5. And then we simply put that into the calculator, and we get y equals 1.8 0.05, and then it's just a bunch of 9, so I'm just going to round it to a 6. Y point equals 1.06, and that is the multiplier for 6%. So you're multiplying it by 6% each year, which means x equals 6. If you've enjoyed our video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hello everybody, it's your friend Daniel here, and welcome to day 24 of doing a random GCSE maths paper every day. And today we have the November 2023 paper 1 question 17. Now, part A is fairly simple. We just need to factorize 6x squared minus 5x minus 4. So we simply need to find two numbers which multiply to 6 times 4, which is 24, which is negative 24 because it's a minus, that add up to minus 5. Now, you could just write out various things, but let's start off. It's 8 and 3, however, with it being minus 8 and plus 3. And then we simply split it up into that part. 6x squared minus 8x plus 3x minus 4. And then we simply draw a squiggly line and factorize each part of it individually. So we simply take 2x out of the left side, leaving 3x minus 4. And then you take 1 out, leaving 3x minus 4. And then the fully factorized part is 2x plus 1, and then 3x minus 4. And then for part B, we simply have to solve 6x squared minus 5x minus 4 is less than 0. So it's very nice to just be able to draw a quick sketch of it. Has a negative y-intercept, and the polarity of the x squared coefficient is positive because it's like plus 6x squared, which means it ends up looking like something like that, which means this part is the part that is less than 0. So then we just take our solutions, 2x plus 1, and 3x minus 4, and we set them equal to 0. So then x equals, just doing simple ranging, x equals minus a half, and x equals 3 over 4. And those are the intercepts of it. So that when it's under 0, when the equation is less than 0, it's between those. So solving the equation, it's x is greater than negative a half, and x is less than 3 over 4. Anyway, that's the end of that video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Hello everybody, it's your friend Daniel here, and welcome back to day 25 of doing a random GCSE maths question every day. And today we have November 2019 paper 2 question 2. So, the length of a pencil is 128 millimeters, correct to the nearest millimeter, and we just need to complete the error interval for the length of the pencil. Because it's correct to the nearest millimeter, we know it's rounding instead of truncating, and there's slight differences between the two, but let's just focus on rounding. What rounds to 128 millimeters? Well, it's just rather simple. It's just 127.5 millimeters, and the length is greater than or equal to that, and less than or equal to, need to add millimeters. The answer box has millimeters, so me writing out doesn't matter that much, but it's still important to remember units. And it's less than 128.5 millimeters. And the reason this is greater than or equal to is because if it's a 5, you round up, just due to convention. Anyway, that's the end of that video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have the June 2017 paper 3 question 20, the last question in the paper. And it starts off, the equation of a curve is y equals a to the power of x. A is the point where the curve intersects the y-axis, and I just need to state the coordinate of A. Well, anything intersecting the y-axis anything at the y-axis has an x-coordinate of 0. So we simply need to plug 0 into y equals a to the x. So it's a to the power of 0, anything to the power of 0 is 1, so the coordinate is just 0, 1. Then, for part B, the equation of circle C is x squared plus y squared equals 16. The circle C is translated by vectors 3, 0 to give circle B, and we need to draw a sketch of circle B. And we need to label with coordinates the center of circle B and any points of intersection with the x-axis. Let's just start off, just for the sake of it, drawing circle C. This is circle C. We're not being marked for this, where its center is 0, 0, and it's just meeting at 4, 0, minus 4, 0, 4, 0, 0 minus 4, and 0, 4. And then for B, we shift it 3 along, which just, it's a lot easier to do it if you just, instead of doing in your head, draw B and just do it 3 along. So the center is 3, 0. And then we just draw that round. And because it equals the radius squared, that's not a good circle. Use a compass. I don't have one on me. The radius is 4 because it equals 16 and it equals the radius squared. That is minus 1, 0. Where it intersects there is where it's actually a bit difficult. Where it intersects there and there's a bit difficult, but we know it would be symmetrical. And here it is 7, 0. So to find out where it intersects there and there, never mind, I'm stupid. We only need to label the coordinate intersections with the x-axis. You could work it out with the y-axis, but you need to, which I'm surprised considering this is the last question in a higher tier paper. We don't have to do that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm doing a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing this question, where we simply just have to rearrange and simplify an algebraic fraction. Now, to start off, since there is a division sign, we can simply flip the fraction and turn it into a multiplication sign. And then we can simply multiply it out while doing some simple factorization, where we simply factorize the x out of the x cubed minus 36x, and also factorize the x squared plus 4x minus 12 into x plus 6 and x minus 2. And then we can simply split up the x squared minus 36 on the top, using the difference of two squares, splitting it into x plus 6 and x minus 6. And you may notice that there's also x plus 6 and x minus 6 on the bottom of the fraction, so we can simply cancel it all out, ending up with us getting 7x minus 14 times x over x minus 2, and then we can simply factorize out the 7, getting us 7x times x minus 2 over x minus 2, cancel out the x minus 2's, and you just get 7x. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we're doing the June 2023 Paper 2 Question 11, in which we have to solve two simultaneous equations algebraically, with those two simultaneous equations being 2x plus 6y equals 5 and 3x minus 4y equaling minus 12. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to either make the x or the y's have a common number. So to do that, we times the first equation by 3, making it 6x plus 18y equals 15, and we times the second equation by 2, meaning 6x minus 8y equals minus 24. And then we simply minus one equation from the other. I'm going to minus the second equation from the first equation, which gives us 18 minus 8, 26y equals 15 minus 24. So 26y equals 39, which means y equals 1.5. And then we can simply plug that into either of the equations. So 6x minus 8 times 1.5 equals negative 24. So 6x minus 12 equals negative 24. 6x equals minus 12. X equals negative 2. And then we can simply plug those in to our first equation to check our answer. So 2 times negative 2 plus 6 times 1.5 equals 5. And then you just get minus 4 plus 9 equals 5, which is correct. And you only actually need to do up to getting these two results, but it's always nice to check your answer. It's day 29 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing paper 3, June 2019, question 4, where we are given this list of numbers, and from the list we have to write down all the numbers that are powers of 3. Well, it's a power of 3, it's just anything. So 3 to the 1 equals 3, 3 to the 2 equals 9, 3 to the 3 equals 27, and 3 to the 4 equals 81. The largest number on the list is 40, so we only need to have a look at these 3, and the only 2 that are on those lists are 9 and 27, so the answers are 9 and 27. It's day 30 of explaining a random GCSE maths paper every day, and today we are doing June 2023, paper 2, question 8. Now, Tasmin buys a house with a value of 150,000. The value of Tasmin's house increases by 4% each year. And Rachel buys a house with a value of 160,000, with the house increasing in value by 1.5% each year. At the end of the 2 years, which house has greater value? Now, to simply do this, we simply need to do 150,000 times the modifier for 4%, which is 1.04 to the power of 2. And 160,000 times the modifier for 1.5%, which is 1.015 to the power of 2, because it's 2 years for each of them. And we simply need to compare those two values, which I am going to put into the calculator now. 150,000 times 1.04 squared is 162,240, and 160,000 times 1.015 squared is 164,836. So Rachel's house has a greater value at the end of the 2 years, and because it's a show that question, it's important you write out the answer, making sure to spell the person's name correctly. Rackle didn't buy a house, Rachel did. Rachel's house has a greater value. Hello everybody, it's day 31 of doing a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing June 2024, paper 3, question 9. Now, Lucia is going on a skiing holiday. The cost of a skiing holiday the cost of a ski hire is 26 quid per day, the cost of a lift pass is 45 quid per day, and the cost of ski lessons is 23.5 quid per hour. And Lucia will pay for a ski pass for 5 days, so it's 26 times 5, plus a lift pass for 4 days, so it's 45 times 4, plus ski lessons for 8 hours, so it is 23.5 times 8. And then you just put that all into your calculator. 26 plus 5 plus 26 times 5 plus 45 times 4 plus 23.5 times 8 to get an answer of £496, £98. And because she has 500 quid and 498 is less than 500, she has enough money. It's day 32 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing November 2017, paper 2, question 10. Now we're shown a distance time graph, and we're asked between which 2 points does the car travel at its greatest speed, and it travels at its greatest speed between 0 seconds to 20 seconds, because the gradient is the greatest, and it's just because the speed equals distance over time, which means when the gradient is highest, the speed is also the highest. And that's the highest point it is on that graph. And then for part B, we have to work out this greatest speed. Well, it goes, it's just distance over time. The distance, just looking at it closely, it is 360 meters, paying careful attention to like the fact that each small square is 20 meters, because the scale for one large square is 200 to 400, so it's 200 instead of 100. And so instead of each small square being 10 meters, each small square is 20 meters. And then the time, 360 over 20, because the time is 20 seconds. So the greatest speed is 18 meters per second, or you may have been taught it as 18 meters second to the -1 if you're doing a lot of physics. It's day 33 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today is the November 2019 paper 1 question 18, where we're given a function and we have to show that f inverse 50 equals 3. So to do this, we just simply, instead of making it so x equals 50, we simply make it so f of x equals 2x cubed minus 15. Now we could just get the inverse function in terms of f, but it's a lot easier to just replace f of x with 50, because if f of inverse 50 is the same as f of x equaling 50, and then that's equal to 2x cubed minus 4. So it's 54 equals 2x cubed, x cubed equals 27, and then x equals 3. And anyway, that's part A. For part B, we're given two functions, g of x equals x plus 2, and h of x equals x squared, and we need to show that hg of x equals 3x squared plus x minus 1. So that's the same as h g of x, so it is equal to x plus 2 squared, which equals x squared plus 4x plus 4, and we need to find the values for which that equals 3x squared plus x minus 1. So let's take it all over to this side, keeping the coefficient of x squared positive for simplicity's sake. 2x squared minus 3x minus 5 equals 0, because this isn't a calculator. Because this isn't a calculator paper, it's not that efficient to use the quadratic equation, so we just do the squiggly line method here. And we need to find things which add up to -3, which are factors of 2 times -5. And for that, it's -5 and +2. They multiply to give -10, and they add to give -3. And then we just split it up using the squiggly line method. So 2x squared plus 2x minus 5x minus 5 equals 0. Then you just factorize each side individually. 2x, x plus 1, minus 5, x plus 1. And so you simply get 2x minus 5 equals 0. I'm just going to move it up. And x plus 1 equals 0. And then just simply rearranging to get your final answers. I'm going to put it over here. Of x equaling -1, x equaling 2.5. It's day 34 of doing a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing the June 2024 paper 3 question 2. Now, firstly, we have to write 5.3 times 10 to the power 4 as an ordinary number, so it's just 5.3, move the decimal point 4 places, so it is 53,000. I couldn't do the mental maths in my head there. That's embarrassing. I do GCSE, I do maths tutor, and I'm doing maths at uni. And then we just have to write 7.4 as an ordinary number. 7.4 times 10 to the -5 as an ordinary number. And it's simply the same. We move it 5 places. So it's 0.000074. And then for part B, we have to calculate the value of 9.7 times 10 to the 6 plus 2.45 times 10 to the 7. And now you may be thinking, oh, you have to like turn them into ordinary numbers and do column sums. No, this is a question in a calculator paper. So we simply just put it into the calculator and get 34,200,000 and nothing else. But then we want it in standard form. So it's just 3.42 times 10 to the power of 7. Doing a random GCSE question every day, and today we have June 2018, paper 1, question 4. A cycle race across America is 3,069.25 miles in length. Juan knows his average speed for his previous races is 15.12 miles per day. For the next race across America, he will cycle 8 hours per day. Estimate how many days it will take Juan to complete the race. Now, because it says estimate, what we do is we just put it all to one significant figure, or to like whatever's convenient. So we turn that into 3,000 miles. He races for 15 miles a day. Notice how that divides easily. And he cycles, 15 miles per hour. And he cycles for 10 hours per day. So 50 miles per hour, 10 hours per day. That is 150 miles per day. 3,000 divided by 150 equals 20. So it should take him approximately 20 days. And then for part B, Juan trains for his race. The average speed he can cycle at increases. It is now 16.27 miles per hour. How does this affect your answer to part A? Well, it affects the answer to part A because if his speed is increasing, it will take him less time, so it would take him less days to complete the race. It's day 36 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have the November 2022 paper 3 question 21. Now, I hate completing the square, and you're meant, it says by completing the square. Okay, I suppose I have to complete the square. So it is putting it into completing the square form, factorising out to 4 first, so it is 4x squared minus 14x. Then by completing the square, it turns into 4x minus 7 squared minus 50 minus 14 over 2 squared, and then it just turns into 4x minus 7 squared, 14 over 2 squared minus 49, and then it just turns into 4x minus 7, it just turns into x minus 7 squared minus 196, and the turning points, it's the negative of the bit inside the bracket, so it's 7, and then it's just the bit outside the bracket. 7 minus 196. I'm a bit rusty on completing the square, so that's why I was like that. But I was going to use this as a nice opportunity to show you guys about differentiation for you guys doing A-levels, but it specifically says by completing the square, so I can't. Yeah, just complete the square. It's the reverse polarity of the bit inside the bracket, and then just the bit outside of the bracket, that's the turning point. It's day 37 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we're doing the November 2020 paper 3 question 15, where we have to prove algebraically that 0.73 can be written as 11 over 15. Now, firstly, what we need to do is we need to set x equal to 0.73. And then we need to get it to a point where we can minus x, or minus some multiple of x from another multiple of x. So let's just go through multiples in terms of 10. So 10x equals 0.733 recurring, and then we can simply do 10x minus x, in which we get 7.33 recurring minus 0.73 recurring. All the 3's after that cancel out eternally, so it cancels into just 7.3 minus 0.7, which is equal to 6.6. And then we just get 9x equals 6.6, or just converting into nice form, 9x equals 33 over 5. Then we simply divide it by 9. X equals 33 over 45. Because this is a calculator paper, we can just put 33 over 45 into the calculator to show that x equals 11 over 15. And we said earlier on, the whole basis for this proof is that x is equal to 0.73 recurring. Therefore, 0.73 recurring equals 11 over 15.
Hello everybody, it's day 38 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have the June 2023 paper 2 question 1. For part A, you literally just put it into your calculator, and then for part B, you just put 1 over 0.625 into your calculator. Yeah.
Hello everybody, it's day 39 of doing a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing the June 2023 paper 1 question 14. And firstly, we have to write 1 over 16 in the form of 4 to the power of n, where n is an integer, and that is just 4 to the power of minus 2, because the minus turns it into reciprocal, 1 over 4, and the 2 turns it into 1 over 16. And then for part B, all we have to do is work out the value of 8 to the power of 5 over 3 minus 9 to the power of 3 over 2. So let's just write that out first. Now the first thing we have to do, well, you could do it either way, but I think it's easier to deal with the denominators of the fractions first. So cube root 8 to get 2 to the power of 5, and just square root it to get 3 to the power of 3. And now 2 to the power of 5 is 32. If you just keep multiplying 2 by 2, doubling it in your head, you get to that. And 3 to the power of 3 is 27. So, and then you just do 32 minus 27 to get 5. It's day 40 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing the June 2024 paper 3 question 17. Now, a ball is thrown upwards and reaches a maximum height, and then it falls and bounces repeatedly. After the nth bounce, the ball reaches a height of h, and then after the next bounce, it reaches a height given by h, n plus 1, equals 0.55 hdn. And we're given that after the first bounce, it reaches a height of 8 meters. Then for the second bounce, it's going to reach a height of 8 times 0.55. Third bounce, it's going to reach a height of 8 times 0.55 squared. And for the fourth bounce, it's going to reach a height of 8 times 0.55 cubed. And then you just put that into your calculator, because this is a calculator paper. 8 times 0.55 cubed equals 1.131 meters. Hello everybody, it's day 41 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have the June 2023 paper 3 question 9. Some people asked if they wanted a new television. 70% of the people said yes, and 80% of the people who said yes said they wanted a television with a large screen. So to get the answer, we simply do 0.7, or 70%, times 0.8, which is 80%, and we get an answer of 0.56. Hello everybody, it's day 42 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we have question 10 of the June 2020 paper 1. Now we're given a few ratios, like a over b equals 2 over 5, and b over c equals 3 over 4. And we have to find the ratio of a to b to c. Well, firstly, a equals 2 over 5b. And b equals 3 over 4c. And for ratios, we just sort of flip it. So a is in a ratio of 5 over 2 to b. And b is in a ratio of 4 over 3 to c. And then we just need to try and get it so b is the same. So to do that, we simply divide by 5 over 2. So 2 over 5, a is in a ratio of b. And then we can just leave it like that to get b in a ratio of 4 over 3c. Multiply it out, we get 2a is in a ratio of 5b to 20c, 20 over 3c, and then we just multiply out by the 3 to get a ratio of 6a to 15b to 20c. Hello everybody, it's day 43 of doing a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing question 22 of the November 2020 paper 1. Now, we're given a sector with part of the sector shaded and a circle, and we have to, knowing that both of the areas are equal, we have to find the value of x. So firstly, let's work out the area of part A. Now, considering 45 degrees is an eighth of 360, it's an eighth of a triangle. So the formula is an eighth pi r squared for the entire sector, and then we minus, let's label that r1 for the entire radius, minus an eighth pi r2 squared, where r2 is just a little radius. And then we can factorize 1 over 8 pi out, and then just sub in the r1 squared and r2 squared. So r1 is 2x plus 5x minus 1, plus 3x minus 1, which gives us 5x minus 1 squared. And that is minus 3x minus 1 squared. And then we simply just do a bit of rearranging. 1 over 8 pi, 25x squared, minus 10x plus 1. And then that is minus 9x squared, due to like the minus there. And then it is minus 6x, so it's plus 6x. And then it is minus 1. And then we just do a bit of simplifying. 1 over 8 pi. Combine like terms, 25 minus 9 equals 16. Minus 10 plus 6 is minus 4x. And then the 1's cancel out. So that's the area of A. Then, just going to label that the little A part. And then for B, what we need to do is we just use pi r squared, where r is half the diameter. So it's just pi times 1 minus x squared, which is just pi times x squared minus 2x plus 1. So then those two are equal to each other, so we can just set them equal to each other. X is equal to pi x squared minus 2x plus 1. Cancel out the pi's, multiply it out by 8, we get 16x squared minus 4x equals 8x squared minus 16x plus 8. Taking it all over to the left hand side, we get 8x squared plus 12x minus 8 equals 0. And then we can simply plug that in to the quadratic formula to get the answers of a half, x equaling a half. I'm assuming you know how to use a quadratic formula, and x equals minus 2. Now, you can't have a negative length, so we ignore the negative, we reject negative. And in some questions, you actually have to state you reject negative. I think that's mainly an A-level thing, though, and you can just get away with saying that x equals a half. Hello, everybody. I'm explaining a random GCSE maths question every day. It's day 44, and today we are doing the June 2022 Paper 2 question 12, where we're given two lines, being y equals 2x plus 3, and 5y minus 10x plus 4 equals 0, and we have to prove that they have the same gradient, because we're trying to show they're parallel, and parallel means they never meet, which means they have the same gradient. And what we need to do for that is rearrange this one into the form y equals mx plus c. So firstly, we just take everything that isn't y, or a multiple of y, over to the right hand side, so it's 5y equals 10x minus 4, and then we just divide by 5, getting y equals 2x minus 4 over 5. Now, because they both have the same gradient, they are parallel. Not even sure if you need to include this conclusion because it's a 2 marker. So parallel. Hello everybody, it's day 45 of doing a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing November 2023 paper 3 question 7. Now, Riley travelled by car and by airplane. He travelled 143 miles by car at an average speed of 55 miles per hour. Riley then travelled for 5 hours and 20 minutes by airplane, and we need to work out the total in hours and minutes of Riley's travelling time. Now, we know that the total for plane is 5 hours 20 minutes. So what we actually have, all we have to do to work this out is work out the total for car. Now we've used the formula, speed equals distance over time. We rearrange it for time and we get that time equals distance over speed. And because it's all in miles and miles per hour, we don't have to mess around with the units or anything. So it's 143 over 55, and that is the amount of hours, and that is 143 over 55 equals 2.6 hours. So 2 hours, and then we just times 0.6 by 60 to get the amount of minutes, with that being 2 hours and 36 mins. And then we just add it together, we get 7 hours and 36 plus 20, 56 minutes. So okay, this one was rather easy. Occasionally you'll have to mess around with the units to convert between kilometers and miles, meters per second and miles per hour, but without any of that, it's a rather simple question. Hello everybody, it's day 46 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing the November 2017 paper 1 question 20, where we're given a table with some values of x and y that satisfy the equation y equals a cos x plus b. And we have to find the value of y when x equals 45. Now, what we just do here is we sub in the values of x being 0 and 90. So when x equals 0, 3 equals a cos 0 plus b. And then when it equals 90, 1 equals a cos 90 plus b, and this is where you need to remember like all the exact angle formula for this. Cos 0 is 1, so 3 equals a plus b, and cos 90 is 0. How did I forget that? Cos 90 is 0, so 1 equals b. Therefore you can just simply do 3 equals a plus 1, a equals 2. And then we need to work it out when x equals 45. So, right, y equals 2 cos 45 plus 1. And I'm just going to draw a little thing quickly to show you how to remember the exact angle formulas. So it's simply this little thing here, and you simply look for the number, and whether you're looking for sine or cos, and then it's the square root of that number over 2. So cos 45 is root 2 over 2. So it's y equals root 2 plus 1. Hello everybody, it's day 47 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we're doing the November 2021 paper 1 question 15, where we're just asked to show that 4x plus 3 over 2x plus 3 over 5 can be written in the form ax plus b over cx. Now the first thing we need to do is make them have a common denominator. So I'm just going to write out the fractions first and go over how we will do that. Well, the most obvious common denominator here is 10x. So we simply multiply this side by 5, giving us 20x plus 15. And then multiply this side by 2x plus 6x over 10x, and then because they have the same denominator you can just add them to get 26x plus 15 over 10x. Hello everybody, it's day 48 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing the June 2017 paper 2, question 6. So, Anil wants to invest 25,000 for 3 years in a bank, and we're given two banks, one which is 2% per year, and one which is 4.3% for the first year and 0.9% for each extra year. And we're asked which bank will give Anil the most interest. So we just plug both of those into the compound interest formula. We don't even need a number 25,000 because it's the same starting amount. We could just use a generic x, but I'll just use 25,000 for the sake of it, times 1.02 to the power of 3. And then that's P bank, and then for S bank, for 25,000 times 4.25,000 times 1.043 times 1.009 squared. And then we simply just calculate the two of those and see which is better. 25,000 times 1.02 cubed equals £26,530 and 20 pence, and 25,000 times 1.043 times 1.009 squared equals £26,546 and 46 pence. So secure bank is the correct answer. Hello everybody, it's day 49 of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we were doing the June 2022 paper 1 question 16, and we're just told a theory first day test. There's two parts, a theory and a practical. The probability of passing the theory equals 0.75, and the probability of only passing one of the two parts is 0.36. And what we need to do for this question is rather simple. We simply need the easiest way to do this is to just draw a probability tree. The first part being the theory test, and the second part being the practical. Well, so it's simply for theory and practical. The probability of passing the theory test is 0.75, which means the probability of not passing it is 0.25. And then we need to work. And then the probability of only passing one of the two parts is 0.36. So let's label failing the practical X and passing it Y. So 0.75 times X plus 0.25 times Y equals, because that's like the two options, you pass one, fail the other, fail the first one, pass the second one, equals 0.36. And then we simply just rearrange that. So we get 0.75 x plus 0.25 y equals 0.3. Actually, as knowing the two events are independent doesn't matter. What matters is that the probability of x is equal to 1 minus y in terms of probability. So 0.75 1 minus y plus 0.25y equals 0.36. Do some quick rearranging. 0.75 minus 0.75y plus 0.25y equals 0.36. Minus 0.5y equals 0.36 minus 0.75. Equals minus 0.39, and so y equals 0.78, like 78%. Hello everybody, it's day 50, good day, of explaining a random GCSE maths question every day, and today we are doing the June 2018 paper 2 question 11. F and g are functions such that f of x equals 2 over x squared and g of x equals 4x cubed, and we're asked to find f of minus 5, Well, that's just f of minus 5 just equals 2 over minus 5 squared, so it's 2 over 25. And then we're asked to find f of g of 1. So we simply work out what g of 1 is, which is just 4, and then it's just f of g of 1, so it's f of 4. And f of 4 is just 2 over 4 squared equals 2 over 16 equals 1 over 8.